you, Aaron. We got Physical Therapy Month this month of October. And from the Rockford Spine Center, Phil Oliveri joins us. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning.
Happy month to you, by the way.
Thank you.
Physical therapists. Now, most of us think physical therapists are people that you get assigned to after a traumatic surgery of some kind to get back in shape, or broken limb. Is there more to it than that?
Well, it can be a lot of different things. As far as depends on what your need is. We have people coming in pre or post surgery.
Pre-surgery?
Yes.
So if I got a sore back, I can go to a physical therapist?
We could potentially help you avoid the surgery if it's possible. Try to work through whatever the problem is, and if it can be avoided or postponed. And that, we'd like to...
So therapy before potential surgery isn't always an option. Okay.
Oh, usually, yes. I mean, it depends on the type of injury that you have, obviously.
Okay. But, okay, so it is something, obviously you do a lot of post-surgical work as well.
Right. They have to do a lot of relearning as far as how to move after the surgery, the things that they do and don't want to do, and especially at the Spine Center, there's a lot of things that have to get used to with, with your new back. And most of it's just getting used to moving the way that you used to before you had pain.
And it's not just backs, knees, elbows, shoulders,
necks, everything, you bet. It depends on the specialization, too, as far as the therapist that you're working with.
Are you a specialist in any...
Well, I think just through experience, you tend to become a specialist in whatever field that you tend to work the most.
If you work the most shoulders, you're kind of the shoulder guy. Yeah,
right.
Okay.
And you can gravitate towards those things too, as far as if you have a propensity or if you like something that you're working with. Some people are good with neurologically impaired patients, like post-stroke or that.
That's obviously a big area of physical therapy work as well.
Yeah, it takes a lot of training.
Trying to reestablish the quality of the pre-existing quality of life is basically what was that your main goal?
Well, that's typically. There are different goals that we have, but a big goal is to try to regain as much quality of life, and that depends on what you consider your quality of life. And a lot of people have different definitions of what constitutes quality of life.
Go through some of the definitions. I have a job where I mostly sit. I don't need to be in shape to run a mile. Well, do I?
It's a spectrum, and that kind of makes a point. People have different expectations as far as what constitutes their quality of life. Some people want to be able to run ultra-distance races or ride their mountain bike. Other people want to be able to get to church and walk up the stairs, or be able to get to the kitchen. It all depends on what your expectations. I have a lot of little sayings that I use, and I always tell people that your expectations will drive your rehabilitation. What you expect to be able to do is generally what you're going to ascend to, what you're going to be able to get back to.
This might seem like kind of an odd question, but age. Can you go to a physical therapist for age? And I say that because, as you get older, maybe you don't have full-blown arthritis,
right,
but you do have a few aches every now and then. It might keep you from wanting to do some type of exercise.
Right. Age, first of all, age is just a number. We see people, 100 years ago, old was 40 to 50 years old. You were on the rocker on the front porch. But now, 70, 80, 90 years old, the expectation is a lot higher to be more mobile and to be able to do a lot more. Mm-hmm. Age-related, and that's a real contested, issue as far as what is age-related. There are different theories on aging as far as what we consider aging. But, very generally, yeah, you can de-age yourself with exercise. That doesn't have to be done through physical therapy. You can do that yourself. But as far as having to go through physical therapy, for the aging process, or it depends. Usually, it's for some injury or illness that you've had.
Let's talk about some of those ways to fight off symptoms of aging here. You mentioned exercises.
Right.
Let's recommend some exercises for people who may lead kind of a sedentary life, kind of like I do, who sits around at his job all day and then goes home and sits around a little bit there. So what kind of exercises can we go through on a daily basis?
In broad strokes, you can consider an exercise program to be 3 or 4 kind of main focuses. You want to have some type of endurance, or say sub-threshold endurance, if you want to go for a walk for some period of time. And my mom will kick me, but she was a teacher, and she would always say, my exercise is what I do. I stand and do my thing. Generally, you want to focus on what you're doing. You want to do directed activity. So what you do for your activity at work really doesn't count.
Isn't really exercise.
It doesn't count. You have to have the way your brain reacts to a focused activity makes it more effective. So there should be some aerobic activity, and then there should be some strength building activity. Doesn't need to be lifting weights. It can be pushing your own body weight, squats or push-ups or chin-ups or any kind of thing like that. It doesn't have to be that strenuous. But and then work on flexibility, some stretching exercise. Trust me, it's disappointing when you're trying to demonstrate something to a patient and they do the stretch better than you do. So it's a little.
But on the other turn, a lot of folks just plain don't like to stretch. I mean, I'll go to the gym and I'll watch people just jump right into it,
right?
And that's probably the worst thing they can do.
There's a study done, I want to say it was in one of the popular sports magazines years ago, that looked at runners specifically, from the weekend warriors to the elite, everything, and they said only about 30% of them did a regular stretching routine. Now I'm sure that the vast majority of the elite runners will do more stretching. But yeah, I see that too. You go in, and I'm guilty of it as well. I don't stretch as much as I need to.
I'm with you too.
But it's a critical point as far as performance, and it goes back to performance is your quality of life. We're not looking at high performance. We're just looking at being able to pick up the paper from the porch without falling off the porch into the bushes, which sounds comical, but it happens. I've seen it enough.
It happens.
So,
well, let's do some. Let's recommend a few exercises we can do at home, and maybe we should incorporate on a daily basis.
Since during most of my live shots I'm active, I'm just going to sit and watch.
Oh, you?
Kidding.
Well, first, I'd like to do a little demonstration kind of strategy here first. I thought about as far as what type of exercise or things that we can do, and the thing that tends to be most applicable to most of my patients that come in, they have difficulty going from sitting, especially on a nice soft chair like this, to standing up, and it's a challenge for them. And going from a low seat especially to standing, and one of the lowest seats we have in our house is in the bathroom on the toilet.
Good point.
And we see that an awful lot, patients coming in, or people that come in that you're working with them, that just have a lot of difficulty. And there's a real easy 3-step process that anybody can use that makes it easier to go from sitting to standing. And so mechanically what you're trying to do, sitting to stand, is you're trying to get your center of gravity, which is roughly behind your belly button, you're trying to get that over your ankles.
All right.
So the first thing that you need to do is whatever you're sitting on, scoot your fanny up to the edge of whatever you're sitting on. That's your first step.
All right.
So you're sitting like that. The next thing that you want to do is to bring your ankles in a little bit closer, not uncomfortably close, but generally now you've narrowed that gap considerably. The last thing that you can do to get that center of gravity over your ankles is to lean forward, and the old hack is get your nose over your toes. And I'll tell people, get your nose past your toes and keep it there, because what you see people do is they'll go to stand up. The first thing that happens, their nose comes up, their balance goes back,
and they
plop right back down on the chair. So get yourself forward.
I'm afraid I'm going to fall forward.
Well, that's the point, because what people will do is, even from a sitting point, when you're young and healthy, you can use momentum and get yourself up to a sitting position there. Momentum isn't always your friend. If you're having some weakness or balance disorder or some problems, momentum will put you over on your nose. So just like that, you scoot forward and pull the ankles back.
Listen to my knees crack.
Future patient. So, but then push up off of what you're standing on, keep your nose forward, get your knees straightened out, and then stand up tall.
Then bring them back up.
Okay. That's good. So.
No, is that okay? That's just simple.
That's all. Great.